14 October 2023, a clip allegedly filmed in Doha was making its rounds on social media. It looked like a meeting of old friends. This man is Hossein Amir Abdollahian, the foreign minister of Iran. And this man is Ismail Haniyeh, the leader of Hamas. Just 1 week ago, Hamas had perpetrated the worst terrorist attack ever on Israeli soil. Did Iran have anything to do with it? And why, after the October 7 attack, did US President Joe Biden feel the need to say this?
We're surging additional military assistance to the Israeli Defense Force, including ammunition. We were sending more fighter jets there in that region and made it clear to the Iranians, be careful. The United States has Israel's back.
By October 19, Israel was deep into a relentless bombing campaign on Gaza, retaliating for the surprise October 7 terror attack by Hamas, a Palestinian militant group. But at this time, about 800 kilometers away in the Red Sea, another military action was silently taking place. The USS Carney, a destroyer-class vessel from the United States, shot down cruise missiles and drones allegedly bound for Israel. The drones and missiles were fired by the Houthis, a rebel movement in Yemen, in a bid to stand with Hamas. The Houthis are a part of a network of proxy militant groups and state actors in the Middle East supported by Iran. Major actors in the network include Al-Hashd al-Shaabi in Iraq, the Syrian regime, Hezbollah in Lebanon, as well as Hamas in Gaza. They are part of an informal grouping known as the Axis of Resistance. These groups are united by their hatred of Israel and the West.
The Iranians have been financing, training many of these proxy groups because Iran considers Israel an enemy.
With so much acrimony between the two countries, it's hard to imagine that less than 30 years ago, these bitter foes were friends.
Before the 1979 revolution, the Shah's government that was in power back then was actually very friendly to Israel because their argument was that they were facing common enemies back then. Common enemies being, for example, Kemal Abdel Nasser of Egypt or the Ba'athist regime in Iraq.
After Israel declared itself a state, Iran was one of the first few Muslim-majority countries to recognize the new state. The two countries had close military and economic cooperation, but this was largely kept under wraps to avoid provoking other Arab nations. Things changed in 1979 with the Iranian Revolution.
Ayatollah Khomeini and his group, when they came to power, of course they were against the Shah, and by extension, anyone who was supporting the Shah, meaning the United States government, the Israeli government, etc., etc.
Ruhollah Khomeini, the leader of the revolution, wanted to champion Islam across the Middle East. It saw Israel as a majority Jewish state in the middle of a majority Muslim world as a problem. Since then, Iran stopped recognizing Israel as a state and has openly attacked its very existence.
یکی از آثار شوم بعد از جنگ جهانی دوم تشکیل غده سرطانی در این منطقه بود. چطور یک رژیم جعلی به نام اسرائیل در این منطقه تشکیل شد؟
Meanwhile, many of these Iranian revolutionaries had been trained in the 1960s, 1970s in Palestinian camps, in the PLO-run camps, in terms of guerrilla tactics, etc. So they knew that Palestinians were about from back then. And indeed, after the revolution, the first foreign leader who visited Iran was none other than Yasser Arafat, the head of the PLO, who received a fantastic reception. They feel that the Palestinians were deprived of their land, that Israel became an occupying power, especially after the 1967 war, when it took over the Golan Heights, the West Bank, Gaza, and the Sinai Desert. And streets and the squares in Iran were named after Palestine to show that type of sympathy for the Palestinians. I think there is also another reason why the Iranians support the Palestinian cause and Hamas. The Iranians view Israel as an extension of the US, an enemy that is much more superior to it militarily, and therefore can attack Iran. And as such, they think that the best deterrence, the best insurance policy that they can have is by having groups like Hamas and Hezbollah that are close to the Israeli border.
So, when the October 7 attack in southern Israel occurred, one question was on the minds of many. Was Iran involved? This is Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, flanked by the country's military top brass. 3 days after the attack, he said this in a televised speech.
از جمله اینکه ایران اسلامی رو پشت این حرکت معرفی میکنن. اشتباه میکنن.
In the case of the October 7 war, the Iranians know that getting involved in this thing when the Israelis are in a vengeful mood, right, and want to, crush Hamas, etc., is not the right thing to do. And therefore, what we have seen so far, and what the Western intelligence agencies are also indicating so far, is that there is no hard evidence.
Whether Iran knew about this attack in advance, or helped plan or direct this attack, we do not, as of the moment I'm standing here at the podium, have confirmation of that.
And indeed, it seems that the Hamas kept everything so secret, so close to their chest, that they did not even consult an ally like Iran, perhaps due to fears that things could be revealed.
ما البته از فلسطین دفاع میکنیم. ما از مبارزات دفاع میکنیم. اما اونایی که میگن کار فلسطینی ها ناشی از غیر فلسطینی هاست، ملت فلسطین رو نشناختند. ملت فلسطین رو دست کم گرفتن. اشتباهشون در همینه. اینجا هم محاسبه غلط میکنن.
While Iran might not have been directly involved in the attack against its arch-enemy Israel, it could still have been a key driving force behind it.
I do have a number of comments from Iranian officials following the 2021 Israel-Hamas war that suggested Iran had been arming Hamas and had been training and motivating Hamas to plan for a joint operation against Israel. With regard to the rockets and missiles, several types of the Hamas and Islamic Jihad rockets and missiles that they used against Israel were imported directly from Iran through the various smuggling routes.
It was reported that these Iranian-made rockets, including the Fajr 5, were used to launch the surprise attack on October 7. Another feature of the surprise attack was the use of paragliders by Hamas pilots to breach the fortifications around Gaza and enter Israel. The pilots were Iranian-trained.
The Iranian missile industries does have a special department that develops technologies and specific missile designs that can be produced in areas like in Gaza Strip, which does not have direct access to raw materials or other components freely. So they can utilize what they have to initiate a production line. This kind of transfer of know-how and technology was adopted by the Iranians as teaching them how to fish instead of sending them fish. In case of Gaza Strip, we are aware of quite a number of workshops that produce anti-tank weapons based on Iranian designs and with the help of Iranians.
With Israel's blockade of Gaza, Iran had to devise various smuggling routes to get the weapons and materials to Hamas. The weapons and materials are delivered from either Iran or Syria. Both countries have weapon manufacturers supported by the Iranian government. The weapons are then transported to Bandar Abbas, a port in southern Iran.
Port of Bandar Abbas, they loaded on ships, a ship that traveled to Qasr in Iraq, probably to change the documentations and bills of lading. And then they traveled back into the Gulf, through the Strait of Hormuz, and around the Arabian Peninsula to the Red Sea and the port of Sudan. They offloaded their cargo, and the remaining route was traveled with land convoys to Egypt, Sinai Desert, and using the smuggling tunnels into the Gaza Strip.
These are weapons, equipment, and manufacturing materials intercepted by the Israeli intelligence. It's alleged that they are shipments from Iran. The Iranian intention being that the cargo would be dropped off near the Gaza coast to be picked up by Palestinian fishermen working with Hamas.
Iran has always seen the support for the Palestinians and their cause the very core issue of their own. It isn't a strategic and ideological objective, not only a tactical one. For they see Palestinians as one of the members of the Axis of Resistance, groomed and prepared for a final showdown with Israel.
Various reports have estimated Iran's annual funding to Hamas to be between 30 to 60 million US dollars.
We know about a certain trip, visit by the Hamas leaders to Iran, where they ask for financial help, and they receive suitcases full of money.
Iran is able to fund Hamas and the Axis of Resistance due to its sizable economy. With an estimated 1.73 trillion US dollars in gross domestic product, Iran is the 19th largest economy in the world. It holds some of the world's largest deposits in oil and natural gas reserves. Nonetheless, the sanctions imposed on Iran means the country remains economically isolated on the world stage.
The United States and various European countries and others have imposed sanctions on Iran, mainly to prevent it from building nuclear weapons, which it probably is capable of doing, which would give it strategic parity in a certain sense with Israel. So these sanctions have crippled the Iranian economy.
Which is why many Iranians oppose the government's funding of its proxy militant groups instead of meeting the needs of Iranians.
So what we see is a large majority of Iranians are very critical of Hamas for A, having started the attack, the brutal manner in which it was, carried out. You see, many Iranians see Hamas as the extension of their own regime that they do not like, right? Islamic militant regime. So if they are against their own regime, why should they be pro-Hamas?
Iran and Hamas should be opposing each other. Iran is Shia Muslim, while Hamas is Sunni, rival sects of Islam. Strangely, it was Israel that kick-started this uncanny alliance. This is the first Palestinian uprising that began late 1987. In the midst of quelling the uprising, Israel arrested hundreds of alleged Hamas activists. Prime Minister Itzhak Rabin had to decide what to do with them without making martyrs of them all. His solution? Deportation.
But at one point, it deported to Lebanon a large group of Hamas activists. It was simply a way to get rid of them, to get them out of Gaza, out of the West Bank, and dump them somewhere.
In Lebanon, the Hamas men were welcomed by Hezbollah, a Shia militant group. Even though Hamas men were Sunni, they united with Hezbollah against their common enemy, Israel. It's believed it was also in Lebanon that Hamas was introduced to Hezbollah's longtime sponsor, Iran. And Iran leapt at the chance to assimilate Hamas into the axis of resistance. So, while Iran has denied direct involvement in the October 7 attack, it has also publicly endorsed it.
ما پیشانی و بازوی طراحان مدبر و هوشمند و جوانان شجاع فلسطین رو میبوسیم.
In the aftermath of the Hamas attack, Israel's retaliation in the Gaza Strip worked in Iran's favor. Just before the conflict erupted, Israel was on a trajectory to sign the Abraham Accords with even more countries. These are a series of bilateral agreements seeking to normalize Arab-Israeli relations and bring peace and stability to the region.
The idea is that Israel wants to have normalized relations with many of their neighbors. Because, imagine, for example, how much the Israelis are spending on military, how much better their economy can be if they had normalized relations with neighboring states and could concentrate on their economic well-being. Another game plan of the Abrahamic Accord was to further isolate Iran, right? Because if Iran is claiming that Israel is an illegitimate state, Hamas and Iran were very worried that the next country that might make peace and join the Abrahamic Accord was Saudi Arabia, which would have been a game changer because of the political weight of Saudi Arabia, right? And therefore, Hamas acted as a spoiler, spoiling the Abrahamic Accord, putting either a stop to it or delaying it for the time being.
And now, with Israel's reprisals against Hamas inflicting a toll on ordinary Arab Palestinians in the Gaza Strip, no Arab country would want to be seen as making peace with Israel, leaving the future of the Abraham Accords hanging in the balance.